How's it going? Ryan here, and today I'm going to review the two trades I took on SPY. The first being a small loser, the second being a small winner. Overall ended up green on the day, but some sloppy execution. I could have had a much better day had I executed better, but we escaped with a win even on a bad day, so not too bad. But before we get into the trades, we'll take a look at some of these levels that we have on the daily chart. In the pre-market, we sold off below yesterday's low of day. So we were looking for levels in that area to see if we'd continue the sell-off. So to the downside, we had this 442.3 area of support and resistance. We have a nice whole number 440 down here that was also a strong area of resistance and support. Besides that, we also were looking at 444 and 445. These are levels that we've been looking at for a while, so nothing new there. But those are sort of the levels that came out and came into play today. So we'll hop down into a lower time frame here. The high of yesterday was pretty much that 448.5 level, so I didn't specifically mark that, but I did mark the low of yesterday at this 443.81. We also have the low of the pre-market here at 442.8. We'll talk about how that played a part today. Just adjust this a little bit. So you can see that we opened right around 443. We came down and tested 442.8, that pre-market low, pretty much to a T before rallying up and going both through that yesterday's low of day and that 444 whole number that acted as strong support in yesterday's session and in previous days. But we broke above that, and my first trade was a retest. I thought with this strong momentum coming out, testing that pre-market low, ripping up through these levels and closing above 444. It was looking very bullish. I guess we do have a decline in volume, but that is typically normal in the first couple of candles of the day. But where I was a little impatient is I took calls on this candle. So this candle came down, it was testing 444, testing this 443.8, and it was kind of bouncing around in this range. I took 445 calls. My target was this 445 level. So I took 445 calls down here at the retest of 443.8. My stop was below this candle's wick here. So if we wicked down past that, I would get stopped out. As you can see, that did happen. We came down, I got stopped out. It was a pretty tight stop. I only lost $9 on the trade. So really small risk on that. However, the reason why it was a bad trade is because typically I would wait for at least one candle to confirm a level hold. So we got one candle confirming that we closed above this level. Typically I'd want at least one candle to confirm that we wouldn't sell off below this level. So had this candle tested these zones, closed above them and respected them, that would have been a good entry point for me. So I was a little impatient, got in a little earlier than I should have. Once we closed below, so you can see where that candle closed right at 443.75-ish. Once we closed below and this subsequent candle opened below those levels and we started to push up and retest, I immediately kind of felt like I was on the wrong side of this trade. That's typically a good sign for taking puts if we close below a level and then retest them. So I stuck to my rule of cutting my loss once we broke that level there. Luckily, I had a pretty good entry, so the loss was minimal, but nonetheless, some good and some bad. Some bad was I was impatient, didn't wait for that to be confirmed that we'd hold that level. The good is that I respected my stop loss and cut it nice and early to avoid much of a loss at all. So that was the first trade. Lesson learned there. A little bit of sloppy execution. I had a bias that we were going to rip higher. I thought we might bounce today, so I got in a little earlier than I may usually. The second trade that I took was, you can see we held this 442.8 once, came down close to it again here, and bounced all the way back up to test yesterday's low of day. So as we came down and we got this test again, I took 443 calls. 443 being just above this level, so if we start to move past it, this contract should move pretty nice. That's why I picked that strike price. I caught the bottom of this move, and as you can see, we made quite a push up here. However, the reason why this wasn't the best trade either is because we had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 or 5 minutes of pretty bad. I mean, even if you count in here, we were just chopping around in here, not really making any sort of decisive moves. So this lack of direction made me a little hesitant to take this call because we were getting really odd, kind of choppy behavior, and I didn't want to hold a position for too long, seeing that this is the type of price action that we were getting. So I got in calls here. Typically, where would my target be? My target would be the next level. Had I respected that and taken profits up here, I would have had a nice profit. I trimmed somewhere in here. The reason why I did, it was the top of this subsequent candle. You can also see kind of the price action in this range got really choppy. So once we bounced and we pushed up into here, I sold. I was in profit. I was green for the day. I had made back my loss, so I was happy with that. But watching this run after I sold, I got the feeling that I missed out. And that's something to avoid in trading. You don't want to trade with emotions. You don't want to trade based off emotions. For example, I didn't take any more trades even though I watched that run without me and realized what was a $5 day could have been easily a $40 to $50 day had I held just a little longer, even just to my target. Because that contract moved really nice as we pushed up there. So bit of a bummer on that front. I could have had a big day today. But at the same time, I wasn't feeling too confident. I wasn't executing the best already. I'd already made a mistake on the day. So coming out of the day with a win, I can't complain about that. And I can be happy that, green is better than red. So even on a poor execution day, we escaped with a win. But overall, some lessons to be learned as I didn't really stick to my rule sets on either trade. Entering too early here, exiting without any reason to exit here, besides being afraid of getting caught and chopped. So with that being said, those are the two trades I took. You can see that we rallied, held that 444 level, never broke below it really. I mean, I guess sort of here, but once we claimed that level, pretty choppy up in this range, but some good trades to be had, especially if you caught some of these bottoms, some of these retests of 444, targeting up to 445, that next level. Some good plays to be made there. So not the best day, but some lessons to be learned. As always, I appreciate you watching. Thank you for stopping by. I trade live every Monday through Friday, except that being said, I probably won't trade tomorrow as an exception. But generally, Monday through Friday, I trade live every morning. Stop by if you feel so inclined. And with that said, I appreciate you. Hope you have a good day. Peace.